Okay. It's the safety and security meeting at 6:30 on August 21st. We are here. We are doing the first part of this meeting as a public meeting. So if somebody gets on there and they have a comment or something, they just have to raise your hand. The first thing we're going to do is be discussion. Number one, district data recap. And Randy Zangara is going to lead that off.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Scaff. Hello, everyone. Just want to thank everybody for being here as the first half of a public meeting for safety and security. We're going to continue to look at doing this to see and talk about data and the things happening in the school district that we can talk about when it comes to specific topics with safety and security. So appreciate everybody that's here. And if you have any kind of comments or questions later, there, like Mr. Scaff said, there will be some time for that as well. I just want to talk a little bit about the start of the school year. Today we had a really nice kickoff in the auditorium with all of the staff, all of the staffalty there. We had a speaker, I think his name was John Paul Gonzalez. So if you don't know who John Paul Gonzalez is, he was famous because he gave the speech to the New York Giants that turned their whole season around and they won the Super Bowl. And he coined the phrase "all in." And so they started wearing T-shirts after he talked with them. And a speech, a 17-minute, 55-second speech, and they took away "all in" and went all the way and beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. And his talk was really about being all in. He was actually, it still is, a ninth grade social studies teacher. And even with all of his fame, he still does that to this day in Union City, New Jersey, which is about 2 miles from the Giants Stadium. Fun fact, their football stadium is on the roof of their high school. And on the roof of their high school. And so he showed a picture of that, which was pretty interesting. So anyways, he talked about all in and he talked about seen, heard, and loved, which is both two themes that we try to carry over. We are going to carry over in this school year. We were all given these little poker chips that say all in, because when you go all in, that's what you have. So we had little KCSD poker chips that were all in. And then there were stickers with seen, heard, and loved. There was wristbands with "seen, heard, loved." Some people had T-shirts with that. Have to give a great shout out to the staffalty that put that together. They organized that. We had a lot of really good donors that helped out with breakfast foods and the such. So it was a really good start to the school year. It really helped reiterate a lot of the great things that our staffalty have been doing when it comes to our school community and climate. Which then translate to a lot of the really great data that we have that we're going to talk about. And there's always two sides to data, and we've talked about that, and there's perceptions and reality of those kind of things, and things that we can continue to work on and should always continue to focus on. But I just want to hit on a few points when it comes to the district data. Overall, the last two years, we've been down 36.77% in major behavioral referrals, which is a true testament to our staff, our security team, our positive school-wide behavior program, where kids are really starting to understand what it's supposed to look like when you go to school. Now, is there always room for improvement? 100%. There's always going to be pitfalls and things that we need to improve upon, but this is a really great achievement for our staffalty to be recognized on. Like that, almost 40% major referrals down. It's crazy. Some of the biggest schools where they've been down, Bucktail had a huge drop. The middle school, again, another huge drop, and the high school, a huge drop. The elementary usually stays a little consistent. They get ebbs and flows, but that's the foundation years where we're working through a lot of the new rules and expectations with them. So, but at those levels, we've had a really nice drop. So overall, when you look at the kind of referrals that we're getting at the high school level, a lot of it has to do with defiance and language and skipping classes. when you look at the times of day that they're happening, it's usually the middle to the end part of the day, specifically at the secondary level. In the elementary, it's usually more the morning into the early afternoon, like when recess occurs. The majority of the places that behavioral incidents occur is the classroom. It's the classroom, the hallways, the cafeteria, the playgrounds at the elementary level. I think people perceive busing and they perceive, the restrooms as an issue, and that the data does not show that referrals as much anymore. They have dropped to like fifth, sixth, seventh down the line when you look at all the different categories when it comes to behavioral referrals. So just some other facts, and some people know these already that we talked to at the board, but our SAP referrals, which is our Students Assistant Program, those are gone up, and that's a good thing because people are recognizing when there's more problems students are having in school, and they're making referrals to get students help. So when we see an increase in SAP referrals, although I don't want to see an increase in problems, what I do see is an increase in people recognizing that people need help. So I think that increase in numbers over the last 2 years really shows that people are paying attention, specifically when it's about substances, alcohol, drugs, tobacco types of things, behavioral, mental health issues. If those numbers are go up, people are seeing them and they're reporting them so people get the help that they need.
Good.
When you go to Childline, our Childline numbers have pretty much gone down, which I'm going to say is good as well, because that means that there's less people seeing children at risk, whether it be from their parents at home or relatives, et cetera, or other adults. The observations or the reports have been going down. So I'm glad to see that there's not that many triggers. Does that mean they're not there? No, that doesn't mean that. But what I'm saying is the signs that were there in the past seem not to be as prevalent right now. But as we all know, times change. You just have to keep an eye on it. But we are vigilant and still have that Childline system ready to go in case we need it. When it comes to citations that the safety and security team works on, we were down 28 this year. So the last 2 years, we've gone down significantly. In 22-23, we were at 302. Then 23-24, we were at 191. And this last year, we were at 163. I'm going to give them a chance to talk as well, just so it's not just me blowing hot air into the microphone.
I was
But
gonna ask what their.
yeah,
thoughts
I'm
on all this
gonna,
was.
I'll go over each one of the data points, and then they can just give a recap of what they're seeing in the schools and everything, if that's
Okay.
all right. Safe to say, numbers have gone up double. And what that tells me, that's a good thing as well, because that means students are seeing potential issues in school with other students and they're reporting them. And then the safety and security team, myself, the principals, we get alerts at all times, hours of the night. And there's times we've been on the phone late at night responding to issues to try to curb any kind of bad things that could happen. So I will say that it's nice that students are taking advantage of this to try to curb any kind of issues that could be coming down the pipeline. So that's sort of it for behavior overall. The only thing I want to add to it, and then I'll let Todd and Scott speak, is a byproduct of the things that are going on in the district when it comes to data and our positive trends with things going down and the right things going up. There's always going to be questions about things like truancy or absenteeism and the like, right? Unfortunately, there's only so much, that a school district can do when it comes to truancy and absenteeism. Like, you can levy consequences, you can have conversations with parents and students. At the end of the day, getting kids to come to school really comes down to their passion for wanting to have that education and do what they need to do to make themselves stronger. Do we always continue to fight that and try to win them over and make sure that those numbers go down? Absolutely, 100%. And so I'm just going to say on the record that, we could really, really use, the public's help with that. Parents, guardians, whatever that may be, to try to work together with the school district. I'm willing to have meetings where people can come in and talk with me about ideas of what that looks like, We have to work within the realms of school law and code, but I don't mind talking with people about their ideas of how we can improve things. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we can't make students get on a bus to come to school, and our job is to try to make it attractive enough that they will come to school.
Hold on 1 second, let me. Polly's trying to log on, she can't find a link, she said.
It's the same committee meeting link that we use for all committee
Okay.
meetings.
It's
The
on the,
same
Colton
one.
said it was the same link that we were on earlier.
no,
wait.
no, it's the committee meeting links.
That was for a board meeting, this is for a committee. meeting.
Committee meeting.
Committee
link.
meeting, same one you used for a committee meeting, does that make any sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, this is the public one we're doing now. Oh, no, so we'll find out how you get logged on for the executive one when we're done with this one. Great, okay, Polly. Yep, bye. Sorry about that.
That's all right. And then, well, one other
I sent
thing.
her a text asking her. where
Oh, she was
at.
good because she was on the earlier one, so I wondered why she wasn't on. So yeah, because it does switch to a different link. And then, so again, with the truancy and the absenteeism, yes, that's a work in progress, and we continue to fight that. And even when you look at it, our average daily attendance has increased. I mean, it's up to 92.33%. So we are trending good there, but again, it's still an everyday battle. So I just want people to understand that it really sort of takes a village. And so if we can get the right people around the right room to have those conversations, I'd be welcome to that. If the people have ideas, they can reach me, my email's on the website, et cetera. The other thing is that I want to just say before I let these two gentlemen speak, is, it's easy to click and put stuff on social media when you have concerns about the district. And what I'm just saying to you is, please make sure, you reach out to your administrators in the buildings, reach out to me and my email, phone numbers. Like, we are willing to have conversations and discussions about things that we can within our purview. We can't always talk about certain discipline issues based on the circumstances, but we are open to have conversations about things. It's better to go to the source and understand how things are going instead of just the unknown, right? So that's just something I want to put out there in case there's any kind of questions. Always, the best source of action is always go right to that school administrator and have those conversations face to face or on the phone. But doors are always open, and if you can't get a hold of them, get a hold of me and we can have those conversations as well. So again, that's just a little bit of a data recap. And I will say that some of the rewards that we are getting for better behavior, we are getting stronger and stronger academic gains. This year, right now, our math gains, many grade levels they had double-digit increases this year when it comes to math proficiency. So in grade 5, we went up almost 40%, grade 8, 93%, and in grade 4, almost 60%. So we've had very good targeted math instruction. The kids are there, they're learning. So there's a great academic gain. When you look at our growth scores to measure how much a student has grown from year to year, our growth percentiles exceeded, 50, more than 1 year's worth of growth in one school year, and 10 out of 12 grades or subject communications. Standout results in grade 3 math, grade 4 math, grade 8 English, ELA. So the basic summary is that students are making more than a year's academic growth progress in a single year, showing that instructional strategies and programs are effectively accelerating learning. And you'll hear more about this because I know Megan wants to share it. I'm just sort of taking some points out of some things that she had with me. So again, academically, we are trending in the right direction. Behaviorally, we are trending in the right direction. Are there always hiccups? It's a public school system with 3,400 kids. There's always going to be hiccups, but we just need to continue down the path that we are and continuing to grow. So the school district and the community continues to grow. So on that note, I'll let Scott and Todd, give their
Yep.
perceptions of things.
I'd like to hear what those two got to say.
All right, I think that some of the things that you touched on with the lower number of citations, like go back to the year that we had 300 plus. And the reason I think it's trending down is because some of the things that we put in place here, whether it's education, whether it's the vape detectors, whether it's behavioral interventionist or, you know, some of those things, the behavioral interventionists have made a big difference because they kind of keep things on the discipline level instead of the citation level. They get to them and they build a good rapport and they're able to de-escalate before it gets to a big thing. Just something as simple as managing the lunch periods where you have smaller lunch sizes and a little less time. There's a lot less idle time. So the smaller lunch size gets them in there quicker. They all get their food, they get to eat, and they don't have that 20 minutes of idle time, which they don't always use constructively.
Mhm.
So lunches have been like pretty much no problems during lunches.
Good.
I remember years and years ago where it was just like, you know, it was difficult because there's so many kids in there and it was such a long period of time. So that's gotten better. The vape detectors have made a difference for that kind of stuff there.
Oh, your dog's barking.
Yeah, so, the drug
That's
dog
not
helps,
yours.
education helps and things like that. So I think we're doing really well as far as boots on the ground, keeping an eye on things, getting people out there, de-escalating, educating and things like that. And so, yeah, we still have vapes and things like that going on, but we don't have as many, you know, I feel bad saying this to Todd here, we don't have as many violent instances as what we had. Sometimes when they are, they're a little more pressing, but there's not as many anymore. So, and I also think that some of the consequences have made a difference too, whether it's expulsion or alternative education, things like that. So I think we're heading in the right direction. I think we're teaching them and they're learning, and the citations show that they're getting less and less, and your referrals and things like that are getting better. So.
Yeah, Scott covered a lot of the things I was gonna cover. I think lunch is a big thing. And the way it was before, if you're not aware, I don't know the exact time, but there were 3 lunch periods in, say, 2 hours.
Can you see if you can get a hold? He can't
They've
find
split that
Alexis.
now.
I, you know, heard of it.
They've split that now.
Thank you.
Now that there are 4 lunch periods in that same, say, 2 hours or whatever the entire time
Right.
is. Fewer kids in the cafeteria at a time
Yeah.
for a shorter period of time. Those are both good things. In the past, 3-4 years ago, the cafeteria was packed and the kids were in there for too long. If you have kids sitting elbow to elbow in there and they're done eating, they have 20-25 minutes of just
Trouble
idle
time.
time. Something bad happened every day. Something bad would happen. Now kids will sit in their lunch groups. Their friends will sit together, but there's space in between them. They can kind of breathe in there a little bit. They don't have as much time.
Cool.
They have plenty of time to eat, but they don't have that
Lag
dead air
time.
afterwards that,
Plus, we opened up the hall, you know, one of the hallways and the courtyard stuff, which also took pressure off of the crowding in the cafeteria and stuff like that. So spreading it out too did help. I
yeah,
forgot.
we had they bought or got, I shouldn't say bought, I don't know. The blue tables that are in the courtyard during COVID, and they were used out back under tents. They're real heavy metal picnic tables. Those are moved into the courtyard, which was never used for anything. And now there are 8 or 10 picnic tables out there.
Nice.
And you can kind of earn your way to eat your lunch out there when it's nice. If you can't handle your business out there, you don't eat out there. But even that area is covered with our cameras, so we can keep an eye on the kids out there. If somebody causes a problem, or you do occasionally, even in the cafeteria, you'll have kids that'll leave their trash out there or throw it on the ground. You watch on the camera, see who it was, and you know, they may lose it for the rest of the year or the rest of the month or whatever. But there are consequences and you can keep an eye on it. But like Scott said, that takes even more pressure off that cafeteria.
Right.
And we had a lot of numbers coming from that cafeteria.
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
So other than that, I also want to give a shout out to the safety and security team, because they're part of that team that makes these numbers go the way that they do, because they spend a lot of time not just being reactionary. You know, they do a lot of time building relationships with students out in the hallway, talking to them, you know, and building that comfort level with students. So they're not just viewed as this person that's gonna get me when I'm bad. They're out there to try to build trust with the students in all the schools that they're located. They do a nice job. They're always out and about and talking with students. And that's a testament, and that provides comfort and safety to those students to be able to have our team being there and being available to them. So I do want to say
Butch, you
that.
got
So-
any questions?
No, I mean, I'm glad to hear everything's dropping down. I was gonna ask about the attendance levels, because we hear about that a lot of times from the county.
Yeah.
So, but it sounds like it's dropping. We're doing everything we can. I know we're working in conjunction with them, but it's gonna be
Yeah.
difficult. Because a lot of people don't put the priority on education
Yeah.
that they should. So there's nothing we can do but educate the parents.
Yeah, and it's difficult. I mean, the attendance and truancy is, it's one of those things where as an educator, you get uncomfortable when things are beyond your control a little bit because there's things that you try to do things that combat that and help the number grow. And I know we've done some really fun things at the elementary level where they had competition for attendance and things like that, where they had games where like classrooms would win prizes for the best attendance, and that helped drive some of the things. But it's still a work in progress, and we need to, continue to work on it. It's just
Good.
it's a complex situation.
Hey, Polly, good to see you.
One other thing that you should.
Just to real quickly bring you up to speed, we've been talking about the data from the security teams and from school numbers on how things are starting to turn around a little bit. And we got some good numbers. You can watch the video again, or you can call Randy and find out also. Do you have any questions or comments you want to make?
No, I can check out the video and see what those numbers are. I just haven't, sorry, I was having trouble. I couldn't find a link anywhere. I don't know what was going on there.
That's right.
I'm gonna have Colton email you the executive meeting link for when we go into executive meeting.
That would be great.
All right.
Just to add another thing about this today, the facilitators in the buildings have been a great addition as well. I mean, there's facilitators, there's one at the high school, there's one at the middle school, we have the 2 elementary ones, and then we have one up at the at Bucktail Renova. One of the ladies up there plays that role as well. So they've been great because, again, it gives another outlet of building relationships with students, and so they're sort of that buffer before they get to the hammer sometimes. And so they've also done a really nice job with some things as well.
They do a lot of counseling. They turn a lot of things around before they go.
Haywire.
We work with Travis Thompson all the
Yeah.
time here, but they all do the same thing. Ashley Bose does the same thing. All of them do the same thing, and they bring them in and they counsel and they de-escalate and they let kids, just sit and decompress a little bit. They don't push it, and they kind of stop before it all boils over. They really work well with them, and at the same time, it's another piece of honestly, it's another piece of security that, when things don't go well, that, we can deal with it and take care of it and get that accountability there as well too. So
Cool.
they stop a lot of it, and then they deal with a lot of it that doesn't necessarily stop. So.
All right. Well, if nobody else has anything else on that, we will move to discussion item number 2, the Keystone Central School District Emergency Guide for Parents. And
So
for Mr. Randy,
Yep, so it is attached, so you'll be able to see it. I think Colton's gonna go ahead and try to put it up on the screen just so you get a look at it. You'll get to see, who's that in there, Scott?
there's our Barker.
Yeah.
So just because I know there could be people watching this as a recording at some point in time, this is located on our website. You can find this in the safety and security section of our website. This is a 2-page brochure. And the brochure is sort of like everything that a parent or guardian should know when it comes to safety and security to a certain extent. So there are parts in here like what parents should do during an emergency. And it steps you through, wait for information from the school district. Don't rush to the scene because that could cause an issue with the responding, teams, whatever that looks like, whether it's a fire or anything else. It talks about how you can help. It gives things, definitions of all the things that we do, like our Alice trainings that we give to the students and the teachers, that if something happens, there's a way you should alert somebody, or you should lock down, or you should inform somebody, or counter or evacuate, whatever that may look like. It talks about what a lockdown means compared to what an evacuation is. There's just a lot of really good information in there that if I was a parent in that district, I would like to at least look at that once and understand, what is sort of my role if something like this happens. I know that there's always a need when situations go down for more and more information. So this is just a guideline. I can guarantee you that if there's ever a situation that occurs that we need to get information out, it will be out in multiple channels, whether it's social media, whether it's robocalls, whether it's just whatever, the media, whatever it looks like, there will be more information that goes out. This is just some general guidelines when it comes to if something happens at a school, what should we do as a parent or guardian? And so I've seen this in a number of other school districts. I really like the concept. Teresa did a really nice job of making this flyer up for us, putting the information in there. So it is a good piece of information that if you know people, to point them to, just so they can have a look at it, to be informed about things. So.
Randy, was there any thought about printing this and perhaps sending it home when the kids get that big packet of paperwork beginning of the year to fill out?
I did think about doing that. We just sort of finalized it. I put it on the website the other day. I didn't have time to get it to everybody in mass quantities right now. What I'm thinking about doing is they have some open houses coming up, getting some piles of them there that they can just keep them, that people can
People
grab
take
them.
it home.
So if you can make a note of that, I just thought about that.
Either
too.
that
So we
or
should do-
like, even though it's on the webpage, email it.
Yeah. And I thought about actually putting it in like a social media, we can put a blast on that too, so they could see it on Facebook. Like, hey,
Yeah.
parents, here's some information for you as well. Just different
Just to
avenues
get the
try-
word out.
Yeah, just to
Be
get
a
it out.
good
'Cause
idea.
people do have questions. I'm a parent, of 2 students in Williamsport. I have questions too. Something happens, what do I do? So this is good information
Yes, it is.
for that. So.
Polly, any questions on that?
No, I think it's definitely useful, and it's good for the parents to know what to do in the situations. I think it's really important for them to know the difference between, for some reason, I'm getting a call from the school right now. What?
It's about Power School, it's about Power School logins.
Okay. But no, I think it's good for parents to know the difference between the lockdown and the shelter in place and things like that, because I know that there was a concern last year when we had a shelter in place, and the kids were talking about how they didn't know what was going on and they were just walking in the halls and stuff like that. And a lot of parents got upset. So I think it's important for parents to know the difference. I mean, have as much information as possible without having too much information. And I think that brochure did a good job of giving that information.
I agree, because you can have an internal lockdown, an external
Shelter in
lockdown.
place, yeah.
Well, shelter in place, there's all kinds of
Yeah,
different
yeah.
things. So
Yeah.
this is a good direction we're headed. Butch, anything
Nope,
else?
I'm good.
Okay, with that said, we'll conclude with that. Is there anybody for public comment? I don't see anybody. Okay, with that said, we are going to go to an executive meeting. At this time, we have, and I don't see why it's not coming up.
Are you looking for the agenda
Yeah,
Under
oh, there it is.
under drafts?
We have an executive meeting that we're going to do on some MOUs and EOP updates with systems with the school that is to be held in executive session. So with that said, at 6:59, we'll end the public meeting.